I'm Samantha, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the different styles and artists that fall into anamorphic art. Art itself is a form that can be described in multiple different ways. One painting itself can be happy, sad, educational, enlightening, serious. It could hold multiple different hats on it. And at the same time, it could have multiple different meanings. And along with that, it could be interpreted differently by so many different people. Each person will probably bring its own perspective to a piece of art and give it a new meaning and give it a new life and a new story that maybe the artist itself didn't even intend it to be. And that's really, I think, the beauty of art. It allows us as spectators and viewers to be able to and bring ourselves into the art and be able to draw something out of it that is special to us and is home to us, and maybe something that other artists and other people may not understand, but it brings something out in us and allows us to kind of express ourselves in a different form and shape. So anamorphic art is kind of the art we're going to be talking about today. In a lack of simpler terms, it is just the most diverse form of art. It kind of breaks the barriers of art, and it kind of encompasses new and different ways to portray a different painting. There were a lot of different artists that took on this form, but some of the main five are Hopland, Rauschenberg, Greenbach, Holzer, and Gonzalez Day. And each of these artists kind of brought their own perspective and view to this art form and kind of created it to make it to what it is today. So Hopland kind of started the entire thing with his piece, The Ambassadors. And The Ambassadors is a painting that is so beautifully constructed. There, you couldn't find one thing wrong in the painting. It's so eloquently designed with between its colors and its storyline and everything encompassing, like him living back in England and what was going on at the times that he was making this piece, and everything he put in there was just so perfectly placed in the right spot. And then he throws a curveball to everybody and he places a skull in the painting, and it kind of draws your eye. And that's something that anamorphic art likes to do. It kind of it draws the viewer's eye to something else rather than what you would assume it would look like or what you would be looking at. It brings your eye completely somewhere else. And it brings a whole new meaning to the piece. It makes the viewer question what they're looking at and who they're looking at and why it reacts a certain ways. So in his piece with the skull, I think he was trying to get that out of people. He was trying to make them question. He was trying to make them think and trying to make them understand in whatever related to them in their own way why he did that. And I think that's why Hopland is a great artist. So the other four artists kind of like followed in his footsteps. Holbein kind of started the whole thing and made it very apparent. But then the other four kind of just like gone along and created their own things as they went along and how they viewed his art and so on and so forth. So Rauschenberg kind of incorporated his by using different textiles and textures in his art, something that wouldn't be completely to the norm. He didn't just paint a piece or he didn't just like draw a piece. He brought different things in from the most random places to make his art unique, and that is completely expanding the barriers of the art form because it's not its norm. It's not what it usually is, and it's not how art is usually expressed. And so he kind of broke that barrier and brought those kind of views in. Greisbach kind of did that in a way too because he brought everything to an alternate reality. He kind of brought things to another place and another time, and at the time he was around and doing these paintings, it was not normal and it wasn't something that people thought about. People didn't think about the future in a futuristic way or in an alternate way. They focused on what they had now and how to deal with those things. And I think bringing that kind of brought an animated and fun approach to his art because it gave people something to think about, something to talk about, and essentially something to envision, maybe something that they wanted their life to be at some point. But it just brought a whole new art form because art was very particular. It was what was going on now and the trends and everything and so on and so forth, and it was very simple in that form. But it allowed his work allowed people to envision something bigger than it themselves. Holzer, which is one of my particular favorites, she's the next artist. Her art is very bold and it stands out a lot because she takes quotes and then posts them on landmarks, different landmarks and images and so on and so forth to create a really bold statement. And this is anamorphic art in a way that, because it's not art. I mean, it's art, but it's not art. Art is this form of art is completely different, and it was something that no one had ever done before. Art was usually placed on a canvas, and she was breaking that barrier completely by putting it up on a building or a landmark or grass or a piece of nature. It was anything that she could grab her hands on that she placed this art on, and it made an impact. It stood out to people. It made people question it, and it made people think. And I think that's really what she was trying to get across. And I think that's what's so great about anamorphic art. It really helps you to envision something different and something larger than life, and it really brings you in to think about it and evaluate it. Um, and then Gonzalez Day, he kind of brought his interpretations in by kind of keeping it simple, but he focuses greatly on historical views. And historical views is something that can be misconstrued in paintings, and I think it's important for someone to create about it and talk about it and visualize it, because it's something that it really is important in any society, and it's something that needs to be focuses on, because you can't know where you're going unless you've known where you've been, and art's a really great poster for that kind of thing. I think that artists like Holzen and all of these other artists, and compared to artists today, have a really big common thread. I think they're all trying to make an impact. Art is a statement in any way you want to take it, and I think that by them, by maybe the artists in the 1500s doing what they did, it gave the artists today the courage to do what they're going to do and bring it to an entirely new level than any of us could have ever imagined it would be. And I just think that all together, like, they have the same goal. Artists want to make a difference and want their voices to be heard, and they want them to be heard in a way that's visual and not in a way that's spoken word, because visuals 9 times out of 10 give a better impact and make a bigger change than they would in words, and because people can relate to it more, and it's not so hostile and violent and aggressive. It's just there in front of you, and you have your any way to interpret it in the way you want, and I think that's more powerful than anything. And I just think artists today and then just want to make that impact and continue to make that impact, and I think that's how it'll be till the end of time. And I mean, take our digital art into that standpoint. Digital art is, um, it takes a beautiful picture and then you add something to it and it kind of messes with it and makes it different and unique. And that takes away the beauty of the art. It makes it a beautiful disaster. It's beautiful, but it's ruined in a way. And I think that's just what makes art so awesome. You can interpret it any way you want and make it what you want and make it you. And I think it really makes a statement to people. And I think anamorphic art, digital art, any kind of art, it's always going to make a difference in our lives, and it's always going to be present in our lives. And I think the better we can understand it and the better we relate to it is really going to help us in the long run and help us understand ourselves better. So I hope you got a sense of anamorphic art today and kind of the history of it. And thank you guys for watching.